Hello, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome to Tasha's Tales. Today I have a real cutie pie next to me. Sumayyah, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello everybody, I'm Sumayyah. Nice to
Hi.
meet you. Hello.
So Sumayyah is someone who I met 5.5, maybe nearly 6 years
close
ago.
to 6 years now.
Yeah. Do you want to tell the world how we met?
I do. So it's probably one of the most random meeting of good friends that I've ever had in my life. So Natasha was moving to Manchester, and just by chance I happened to see her posting on maybe a travel group saying, I'm moving to Manchester, does anybody want to meet up, and blah blah blah. So then I was like, yeah, actually, like I can show you around. I know Manchester quite well. I'm happy to introduce you to people, etc. And it just happened to occur that probably like a week later I was having a get together in my house with some friends. And when I say some friends, it's probably like 15 people. There's like 20
15.
people. There was like a lot of people there.
Yeah.
And I said to this girl, hey, I have a good idea. Rather than me introducing you one by one and like meeting and planning for coffee and stuff like that, just come over and meet everybody at once. So she turned up on time.
I was on time.
And like everybody else, when I was still running around half dressed, cooking like 10 different things at once. And she just was like, hi, I'm Natasha. And I was like, oh, come in, babe, sit down.
And I was one of the first people
were the first
there.
person.
And I was like, oh, would you like me to help you with the hoover?
Yeah. And I was like, no, all right, just sit down.
Can I say, though, before I turned up to a stranger's house with 15 other strangers, I did send my location to Emma.
She did
I sent your number to him.
It made me laugh so much.
If you don't hear back from me in 5 to 10 minutes...
Oh, really? Like that soon? That's that early on?
Because I was like, I'll just drop you a quick text to say...
It's sensible.
Yeah. But, do you know, Sumayyah, and I know I've probably said this to you before, but just to really mark it, I think it is so wonderful and lovely of you to have opened your heart and let me in. Because through you, I have met some of the most wonderful people that I truly, genuinely cherish.
That's lovely.
And you know what? Not everyone has the quality to bring people together like that, but you do.
That's really kind of you. I feel like it makes me feel a bit emotional because I love that. It actually makes me so happy to hear or to even see or to hear people connect. So even if, like, I just love to see people go on and make friends and like spend time with those people, and just because I know so many amazing people, and I just think to myself, well, do you know what, that person would really get on with that person, and then just to see it happen just makes me like,
but not everyone's that inclusive. So I think that is just kudos to you, like, well done.
Well, do you know what? Kudos to you and your bravery coming into that like madhouse. Who knew that I'd just be like, right, get straight in there, go meet the girls, and you did. And actually, that's quite a scary thing to go to a new place and just kind of put yourself in a maybe slightly vulnerable, but actually when you got there, it was like just a like random old madhouse of fun.
Yeah.
And everyone's just so chilled out and nice. Like I knew that you'd love that kind of situation.
Yeah.
But I think that was super brave of you, actually.
But over time, I feel like I have known you for a lot longer. I feel like I've known you my whole life because you've seen me through some of the biggest changes of my life in terms of, getting a house, having kids and whatnot. But for me, one of the most special moments was when we spoke about you starting your business.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So do you want to tell the world what you do?
What's
your business?
So my business is called the Creative Society Manchester, and it's an art and well-being business. So I guess art events, and it's been going for almost 3 years now. And it's become just an amazing little space of just creativity and people coming together. And as you said, like meeting wonderful people that have become like good friends in life. But the beginning was such a rocky...
Do you remember?
Of course I remember. It was... go ahead.
Do you remember when we went to Harrogate, to that spa place?
Do you think I'll ever forget these conversations? Like it was such a pivotal moment, actually, because I think... Yeah, it was such a pivotal moment because the moments that change your thinking about something, or like something that you're convinced of, and then someone can just say such a genuine, like simple few sentences, and you're just like, oh my god, yeah.
I feel like I was there for that moment, I do, and I feel like for me, it's been such a joy watching you go from strength to strength to strength.
Oh,
Like, it's just amazing.
you make me emotional now.
Don't be crying.
Do you know what? Actually, I couldn't have done it without you, because just that conversation, I think that conversation, like, it was a longer one, but like some key points of the conversation were very much, at that point, I just absolutely did not think there's any way on earth that I could do a business by myself. And I thought, unless I have somebody else who's on the same level, or like has the same level of enthusiasm, or like willing to like put in the work and the energy that I wanted to see, it just couldn't happen. And even though like I'd tried that again and again and it kept failing spectacularly, it just didn't occur to me that, Sumayyah, you can do this on your own.
Exactly. And the fact that you had that self-belief and you just went for it is just amazing. And I know for a fact that when you kind of invite people into your setting, it's very much a safe space. I know people have messaged you to say that they're struggling with X, Y, and Z, and you've made that special time and space for them. And I think, again, it's such a beautiful quality, because...
Oh, that's kind of you. To me, it seems like, why wouldn't people do this? But I do understand. I don't want to minimize it, because some people spend so long struggling being alone and not having any kind of outlet or any, like, I always think that once you get past a certain stage in life, say college or university or whatever, where a place where you make friends or there's loads of people, it's actually really hard to then form adult friendships. And there's not so much, like, you've got these amazing people who are kind of just so lonely and they've got so much to offer the world. And I just think, do you know what? You could just come along and do this. Like, let's go and have fun and do that.
What does creativity mean for you?
Creativity to me means, well, very specifically to me, with the business, so it's called the Creative Society, because I didn't want to pigeonhole it to be one thing. I didn't want it to be the art hub or the painting, whatever. I wanted it to be a space where I can be as creative as I want to be, and then put those things out there in the world and see if people like wanted to jump on board with them. And I'm just so lucky in the fact that people always want to jump on board with those ideas. So it can just start as a most random idea in my head, like when I decided to write a murder mystery like a couple of months ago, and I was like, never been to a murder mystery, never seen a murder, like there's nothing in my life that makes me qualified to like write a murder mystery. But I wrote the whole screenplay and the background and the characters and the plot and got the venue, and everyone came together, and it was the most spectacular thing. So I think it's just that flexibility to kind of explore different creative pathways and see how you can include people and make it like an experience and like a special moment for them.
And you know what's special? Because remember, I mean, I don't mean to be saying anything negative about any other companies, but I did happen to attend something last year, and for me, you being the face of the Creative Societies, everything is how you welcome people in and how you know, do your classes, because I know how much hard work that goes into it. You know,
You
also, funnily enough, like, you know, when you mentioned the fact that you had kind of all this hesitance about going ahead with starting your own business.
Yeah.
I remember when I was posting about the podcast, for me, I screenshot the messages that you sent me, because you were like, stop saying that you are, you know, in crisis. Own it, enjoy it.
Do you know what? Because I know, like, I suppose it's always easier for your friends to see, but I see the most incredible things about you. And I know how, like, I know how much of I don't even know how to explain it. You're just such an amazing safe space. You're such a joy to listen to. Like, our marathon voice notes are like whole existence on those notes. And the fact that you can, you're like, I just know that you're so good at it. Like, I know all the good things about you. And sometimes when we start, well, pretty much, I'd say most times when we start something new, especially if it's something a little bit different, like the feelings of self-doubt are just quite overwhelming, and then we start to speak down about ourselves a little bit to kind of get in there before other people, or what we think other people might be thinking. So we're like, oh, we're like this, and I was like, no, don't do that. You're doing this, and you're going to be amazing at it, and you are amazing at it. So just own it.
Yeah. So I totally tried to change my mindset after that, because I thought to myself, why am I putting myself down? Like, if it's something I want to do, and it's not an impulsive thing that I've thought about overnight, it's something I've been wanting to do for over a year. That's a long time to think about. And I thought, what have I got to lose?
What have you got to lose?
Absolutely nothing. If anything, I feel like, it's given me the confidence to speak to other people. It's given me the confidence to learn a new kind of technique as to how to put a podcast up. It's helped me think about ideas. And in some ways, it's been quite therapeutic because I've got to hang out with people that I love, and I've got to, do something specifically fun.
And you talk to people on a deeper level, maybe than you kind of have the chance to do just as we have a lot of periphery conversations, which are fine, like easy fun times and coffees and things like that are nice. But I think with this kind of thing, you get to kind of explore a little bit deeper. And you love to explore a little bit deeper. You like to talk a little bit deeper.
I love a bit of a deep convo. Because for me, I feel like in a relationship, you have to get a bit deeper and a bit vulnerable in order for a relationship to thrive. Like the foundation of a relationship needs to stem from something a little bit deeper.
It is true. I think that's the difference between kind of an acquaintance or a periphery friendship, which again are fine. Like there's lots of different types of friendships that we need in our life, but those ones that have become the kind of the long-term friendships and the long-term kind of people that you can rely on are those ones where you have that little bit of a deeper understanding of each other, or you even like care to know a little bit more about each other, and then that's kind of where your values align and you realize more about each other. And
because me and you've definitely been there many a times where we've picked each other up in many ways.
Oh, absolutely.
And even, but again, going back to your creative society, I know I've been to a couple of sessions where I really, really needed it. I really needed to just switch off, because in that moment in time, you do completely switch off, and there's something so therapeutic and beautiful about it. Like getting lost in creativity.
That's exactly what, like, that makes me, again, a little bit emotional, because that's the exact kind of space that I want to create, where you can just be as social or as quiet as you want to be, but you're just totally there for that minute, because we're going to spend all the rest of our days probably worrying about what's happening next, or what happened before, or like time is always speeding forward. So I think it's really important to be able to just be like, I'm just here right now, just for this moment, and I'm involved in it, and I'm just going to breathe, and I'm going to be nice to myself.
And sometimes we don't do that. It's that self-love and that kindness and that appreciation for ourselves.
Very often we don't do it, and I've actually been really conscious this year of, I teach it, and I teach mindfulness, and I teach well-being and art and all the rest of it, and I tell people about how important it is to relax, but do I do it myself?
No, you do not. So we have just been trying to relax. So me and Sumayyah seem to have a pattern where we see the most horrific films together.
We are really cursed with our film choices. It's because we don't research. We're just like, oh my God, girl, I need to see you. Let's just see what's on. And then we'll see what's on, and we'll just be like, I have no idea about this film, but let's just go for an experience. And then
it's an experience, all
we
right.
Have seen
we
some
watched
weird, oh my God. We've watched Saltburn on the first day it came out.
Yeah,
we had no idea what we were going into.
So we watched that, and then today we watched some other films. So currently we are sat in the car park of Trafford Centre, and I just managed to, I turned up with my mics, and I was like, do you want to sit in the car and, have a little chin wag, have a little catch up?
Do you know what we've realised though? Like, even like the way that we plan to meet up, and like things like life comes in the way, and when we have those spontaneous last minute, shall I see you tonight? Like, those are the ones that work out more.
Always.
And are just like the best memories.
Always.
So I think the spontaneity is actually a really good thing, and a good way to do this. Because perhaps if you said to me like a few days ago, I'm going to interview them on this day, I'd be like, oh my gosh, she's going to ask me. Like your brain starts to go.
And remember, the concept for me was always kind of cherishing snippets of conversations with my loved ones.
Glimmers.
Yeah, my little glimmers.
Do you know what, I think about that all the time as well. Like, I think the thing that comes up quite a lot in what we talk about is that small little bits of advice and little bits of kind of encouragement and just little things that we say to each other actually have a really big impact on our mindset.
Yeah.
And like the glimmers thing is one thing that you say to me quite often.
Do you want to explain the glimmers?
So glimmers are when you look for small things, little tiny things within a day that's like a little glimmer. Let's say a glimmer of hope, or a little shiny moment. That could be something so super simple, but you just concentrate your mind on that, and it just really helps you to realize all the good things that are happening, and there's like a balance to everything, and it's okay. Like things will be okay.
Yeah. So it's the opposite of a trigger. So things that trigger you, so things that like road rage, for example. So instead of being triggered by someone driving a certain way, for example, it's about thinking, actually, what's the glimmer? But look, the sun's out. Or whatever.
I'm all about those moments though. The wind blowing, look at this butterfly, look at the sun shining.
I think that's why we get on so well, Sumayyah.
It's true.
I forgot to even ask you, what is your background? What is your kind of ethnicity, and who are you married to? Just to give a bit of context as to you, because I think it's always important to share that.
I'm happy to do that. So I am half Egyptian, half English. Ooh. So my dad is Arab, Egyptian, and my mum is English. And I am married to a Pakistani boy, and I've been married for, I'm gonna say, like 14 years.
We won't test you on that.
It's around 14 years. And so my husband's Pakistani, so my children are Egyptian, Pakistani, and English. And then we have a little bit of random bits of heritage on my side, which are Nubian and Irish and Welsh and all kinds of other things thrown in there. But yeah, that's what we're.
And you are an qualified audiologist.
Yeah, so by original degree, I spent 4 years at Manchester Uni studying audiology. I graduated and then practiced audiology in the private sector for a few years. And then after I had my son, I went back to work. After I had my daughter, I didn't. But I was a branch manager so very much the corporate world. And then when it was kind of time to go back, I thought to myself, is that something that I want to do, or do I want to just try something that I really, really love and I'm passionate about, see if other people like it? And that's when I did my first Creative Society event. And I think I'm just really lucky in the way that one sold out, and people seem to just keep coming back, and they just seem to love the ideas and I guess the space and just all of it, which I'm really lucky. So now I'm a full-time artist / event planner rather than audiologist, which I studied all those years for. But even though I work a lot harder than I did now, even when I was running a branch with a big team in the corporate world, this is a kind of a space where I know I'm supposed to be, and it makes me genuinely joyful. So even though you've seen the all-nighters and the crazy hours and the amount of effort that I put into everything behind the scenes, like those moments where I'm in the class and I'm looking around and I see people relaxing and like conversing with each other, and I see people go off for coffees after the events and things like that, and it literally makes my heart smile.
And which is why I said, like, not everyone can genuinely do that, whereas you do. And for me, what's really, really apparent is during the class or after a class, I can see that glow in your face. Even when you're knackered, I can see how buzzing you are about the success of the class. And you know this now, when I am out and about and I see venues or I see look at ideas, I'm like, oh, Sumayyah, you need to do this. This is epic.
And you know
what? Contact this person, that person.
We always love the same kind of places and the same kind of themes, and you're like, oh, there's Into the Woods, and I'm like, yeah, I've seen it, I've messaged them, and that's the kind of thing that my friends are so into. My friends have been amazing, actually. There's no way that I could have done everything that I've done so far without like the help of my friends, not even in a physical sense, just the encouragement, the fact that they get so giddy with me, like the fact that they'll come in and be a part of a murder mystery and actresses and all kinds of random things that they've done, but they're happy to be a part of it, and that just makes it so much.
But I think having the right people in your tribe is kind of everything, isn't it?
That's true. And I don't think that's like, I think sometimes people make it out like it's easy to gain that tribe, which like, have your tribe around you, blah blah blah, whereas a lot of people don't have that. But I think it's very much like, not trial and error, but it's very much like, or for me anyway, it's been a long process of kind of getting to know myself a little bit more, not accepting certain behaviors, and just eventually now at this point I'll have people around me that are genuinely people kind of not the same as me, but on the same wavelength, in the fact that they don't like, they're not into drama, they're just into like being the best version of themselves and boosting each other up. And I think that makes a huge difference. So now that tribe, I'm so lucky to have a lot of girls around me like that.
Yeah.
But now that tribe's around me, it does make a huge difference.
Yeah, because like I said, I've met some of, people from you, which, by the way, I'm going to say, don't you?
Yeah.
Go on. What am I going to say about your friends being my friends?
I don't know. They're your friends now. They're not my friends anymore.
So literally, even though it's been nearly 6 years.
Like years, she'll still meet my friends and say, I'm going to go see your friend today. And I'm like, girl, they are your friends. You see them even more than me. Like, let's break away from that, like, ownership. I think we're so used to kind of people being quite ownershipy about friendships. And I'm not like that. I'm literally like, please, like, it makes me so happy. Do it.
Do you want to mention a little bit about kind of the disability element of it? How, despite kind of, having kind of chronic illnesses,
I can do. So one of the major factors of when I was considering going back to work with Isla after I had my daughter was the fact that I suffer from quite a few pain conditions, and during those years that I was off with Isla, they actually went from like a little bit of a niggle to pretty severe. At this point, I'm going to say there's probably like 5 kind of significant pain conditions that I have, which affect every single second of my life. So it's this job or this kind of business that I have works for me in the way that I can moderate the way that I work a little bit. So some days I just have to work from bed in the morning, or I'll be on really strong painkillers. I won't be able to move around for much, or it takes me a couple of days to recover from an event just for like the limited like physical like lifting and stuff like that. It has been one of the hardest things over the last few years because it's got worse over the last few years, but also kind of juggling things around to make my children, my business, my home life, like the pain conditions, hospital visits, doctors, like I have to kind of balance all of that within the time frame that I have. And it's been tough.
What would you say to someone who was in a similar position to you and wanted to start a business or wanted to manage? What would your advice be?
I think all of us, like, it's really important to just spend a little bit of time, and it's not easy, just working on our mindset, because in the beginning I just thought to myself, I'm pretty young, like what is going on that I'm this age in my 20s and I'm struggling, I'm in this much pain, like what's going to happen? And a lot, like in the beginning, I just literally thought to myself, like, what is the point of getting out of bed? I'm in agony, like I can't do my job that I used to do. And I just got into a really kind of miserable place of just feeling so dejected. And at that point, I spoke to CBT therapist, and we talked about the pain and just different things that were going on. And that really helped to reframe my thoughts a little bit around it. And I just thought to myself, do you know what? I'm still living life, so I need to make life work for me in the best way that I can. So I need to make whatever I'm doing work around the condition that I'm in. So I'm in pain, I've got these disabilities, etc. I still need to live, and I still need to do the best that I can. So there's no point giving up, because if you give up, what you're going to do? Just like, lay there and rot. And it's not easy. Like, I can tell you, like, there's no way that I would dismiss any like level of pain and I'm talking about mental or physical pain. Actually, both of them equally to me can be debilitating. But I just say, just take it, just keep going little steps at a time. And if there's something that you really want to do, just give it a try, because if it doesn't work out, what's going to happen?
Exactly.
Like, what is the worst
you know
that's going to happen?
Sumayyah, like, even though, despite all of that, you make each day count. You live every day like it's the last day.
I do try.
And this is probably the deepest. I mean, we've had lots of deep conversations, but I just wanted to kind of bring that to light a little bit in terms of the struggles, because nobody really sees the struggles.
Yeah, nobody sees
but
it.
It's okay to be struggling, but it's also important to kind of work on it and go get aspire to do something, or follow your heart and follow your dreams.
Just think about what it is that makes you really genuinely happy, and again, like smaller steps rather than. Because I have sometimes a very much all or nothing approach. Like, I throw everything into it. If it doesn't work out straight away, I'm like, oh my God, I failed at that. I'm not doing it. So with this, I'm like, let me just do a little bit. I'll do my first event, see how that goes. Do a couple more. expand a little bit here, try this, try that. And then one of my mentors says to me all the time, he's amazing, like one of my business mentors, he's like, Sumayyah, I'm like, when I started up the retreats, I was absolutely dying. Like, you remember, like, how much
we need an episode
we do.
purely on
Talking about
retreats,
this. Yeah,
and I would love to do that.
We'll do that. Because that was a big one, wasn't it? That was
amazing.
Huge.
It wasn't just one. You've done four.
Yeah, now it's fine, but in the beginning,
yeah.
And I remember Neil saying to me, he's like, Sumayyah, what's going to happen if this retreat doesn't work out? You're going to die. And I'm like, I'm not going to die. And he's like, you're not going to die. Nothing's going to happen. What you're worried about is other people, what they're going to think of what's happened, or how you're doing, or whatever. He's like, just remove that element, just try it out, and if it doesn't work, just say it didn't work out. And I was like, oh, so not easy, is it? No, I'm not going to die. And often now I think to myself, what's going to happen? Like, what's the worst that can happen if you invest a little bit of yourself into something and it doesn't work out?
And do you know what I think? Watching you kind of start your business, and I know, me doing this podcast thing, it's something, a little bit of a hobby, a little bit of like just something for me, but I feel like you probably did deep down give me the confidence just to think, what's the worst, like what is going to happen?
So happy. And look at you now, like professional podcast host. Amazing.
This is like the second time, but
it
doesn't
matter. Like, your confidence has increased so much because
could you remember, like, I wouldn't even send voice notes.
I know.
So up until recently, I mean, it's been probably a year now, but I was not a voice note kind of person.
I know.
At all.
I feel like I dragged that life out of you because we're just voice note again now. But imagine, do you know what I said to you the other day? Imagine if I said to you a year ago, you're going to be hosting a podcast and interviewing me in a year.
I would have.
Would you ever have believed that you would have done it? No.
I would have laughed at you.
And look at you now.
Right, what's the phrase that I've taught you today? That's going to be our parting words.
Oh my gosh, how I've said it about 800 times today. Remind me of it. I can't remember. Wait, what's the first word?
Apka? No,
No.
Epic fail.
You could do it. I can't remember.
She needs to do it.
My brain can't retain that much information at once. But that was good.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
I know you're knackered. You've done 2 events back to back.
We had 40 kids today in our event. That was crazy.
40 kids?
40 children that we taught today in the event. It was crazy. But
well, I appreciate you. Thank you for hanging out with me.
Always glad to chat with you.
And our midnight car chats are always the best. So we will continue. I love you lots.
Love you too.
I will get you back on here next time.
I'm proud of you.
Bye.